in that second, I chose to scream. And I screamed, "Somebody fucking help me!" You know, like as loud as I could.
Trigger warning, guys, this story ain't for the faint-hearted. Trust me. Today we're gonna watch Leigh Collins' story about her stalker. So this is 100% legit. This is a true story. I'm gonna do a two-part video because there's a lot to cover. Today we're gonna watch about an incident that kind of, you know, it's kind of like a prequel that kind of led into the story, and then kind of as we go along we're gonna hear the whole thing. Charges, prison, stalking, injuries, hospital, you name it is there. So grab a seat, grab a drink, and we're gonna run to the story.
Run, Forrest, run! I fought back against the stalker who tried to kill me, and now he's serving a life sentence. I didn't know that I had a stalker at the time, so I went to bed. It was just a normal night. I locked all the windows and the doors, got into bed with my dog, and fell asleep at maybe about 10 p.m. Up, I think around 2:45 because my dog Cookie was barking. I didn't take it very seriously at all. I got Cookie to stop barking and went right back to sleep. Woke up again at 3 a.m. Because Cookie was barking and I could tell this time that it was something serious. So I got up, I sat up in bed, looked at my phone, and it was 3:04 a.m. And I looked up from my phone at the bedroom doorway, and there was a silhouette of a figure standing in my bedroom doorway. He kind of peeked his head into the doorway, and he was lit from the back, so I couldn't see any features on his face. I saw him kind of peek in and then peek right back out. I immediately started telling myself, this isn't real, you imagined it. You know, like my heart was beating, my thoughts were racing, I was scared, but I had just gotten into a fight with my boyfriend that night, and my brain just convinced me that this was either nothing, like I had imagined it, or that it was my ex trying to scare me. So I got up out of bed and left my phone. I had a hunting knife in like my underwear drawer that a friend from Wisconsin, which is where I'm from originally, had given to me. I left that and walked out into the hallway, and no one was there. I walked into the living room where I thought my boyfriend would be. He wasn't there. Into the dining room. It was a little darker in there. No one was there. And then into the kitchen, and that's where I saw him. He was standing with his back up against the wall, and he was tall, and I saw right away that he had a knife in his hand. So I started to run. I didn't turn around. I scanned him up and down, and then started to run backwards. I ran backwards through the dining room, through the living room, smashed myself up against the living room windows. He chased after me. He quickly caught up to me. He held the knife to my throat and told me to shut the fuck up or I'm going to kill you. You see I have a knife. Shut the fuck up. I'm going to kill you. And I did. I shut up. And from there, he started asking me questions. He asked me first, do you have a boyfriend? And like I said, I had just gotten into a fight with my then ex-boyfriend. This is also part of the story. And I lied and said that I had a boyfriend who would be back any minute, like we all would. And he did not seem very fazed by that, which made me nervous and scared. And then he said, where's the fucking money? And I took him into guest bedroom where I had $31 in a nightstand and passed it back to him. He was holding me with like his bicep and held the knife right here, and then held me with his left hand by like I had like a messy bun in my hair. After I handed him the money, my heart sank because he said, now what else do you have for me? And then I knew why he was really there. So after he said, what else do you have for me? He took me into my bedroom, but he told me to stand up against the wall. And he, started feeling me up. I started to cry. I was begging, begging, I just kept saying over and over, you don't have to do this. Please don't do this. I'm a nice person. You don't have to do this. And all I felt still at this point was terror, fear. Who is this man? What does he want? I'd never seen him before. And, am I gonna survive this? So then, fuck. It, actually left a little mark on my face. Dang it. So then he told me to go lay on my bed. After I laid on the bed, he told me to stretch out my arms and legs, and I did. And he was still then, feeling me up. And for me, I was staring at the wall. He wanted me to look away from him. The knife was always at my throat. But I was looking at the wall, and I started to see, my life flash before my eyes. But
Very common.
It wasn't my past. It was my future.
Oh.
These images of me having a daughter. I don't have any children. Dancing at her wedding. My brain also showed me pretty horrific things, images that I've only seen in horror movies of what someone in a room with no consequences might do to me. And that, which was a pretty potent combination. The last thing my brain brought up for me was a scene from the TV show Dexter. I was not a super fan of the show Dexter. I liked it. In this scene, it's he's surely not going to make it. He says, a wolf in a trap will chew off its own leg to survive. Its survival instinct is that strong. And I don't remember bookmarking this scene in my mind. It wasn't something that I watched again and again. It was something that my mind must have just put in the back in case we needed it at some point, and we did, which I took as, you need to find any way that you can to survive this. My feeling was pretty strong, and I don't know if that's just intuition or fear, but my feeling was that he was not there with the intention to let me go. At the moment, there was no part of me that thought this, especially with the way that he was, that this man has a lot of mercy for me.
Okay.
Like I said, I was bawling, I was crying, and that only got him more excited. So, I'm trying to go fast. I'm trying to do this without the AC so you guys can hear. So, I make up my mind to sacrifice my arms. In my mind, I was like, if I just start, doing this, and he slashes at me with the knife, maybe I lose my arms, but I'll walk away with my heart. And in my mind at the time, that was walk away with my heart beating so that I'll survive. But I think there's obviously deeper meaning, deeper levels to that. So he told me to turn on my side, and as I did, and he was climbing up on the bed behind me, he pulled the knife away from my throat for a second. It was the first time that the knife had been away from my throat since he'd caught me on the couch. In that second, I chose to scream, and I screamed, "Somebody fucking help me!" As loud as I could. I lived in an apartment complex, so, hopefully someone can hear me. In my mind, I was screaming loud enough for my family, my dad, my brothers to hear me all the way back in Wisconsin.
So brave.
He then jumps on top of me, straddles me. We start fighting like this. And he, I remember just a flurry of hands. He's on top of me. And then I remember feeling bop, bop right here in my head. And it felt like he was hitting me with the butt of the knife. And I wondered why he would hit me with the dull end. But then after that,
Tried to knock you out.
I saw a white light. And it was white light, white light, white light. And I realized he's punching you. No matter how many times he punches you, you can't fall asleep. If you fall asleep, you die.
You're done.
And I remember thinking, at least he doesn't punch very hard. And then he stopped, and I was able to get my legs up underneath him and push him off the bed. And immediately I sat up. Like, I hadn't felt myself get stabbed. I hadn't felt any pain.
The shock.
At all, but just kind of instinctively, my body told me to hold up my left hand. And I held up my left hand and saw that my ring finger and my pinky finger had been partially severed. So then,
Oh, God.
I thought I had lip gloss in here.
Casually slipping it in.
Then everything changed. When I saw that my fingers had been almost severed, I went from feeling utter terror to complete rage.
Wow.
Every cell in my body was swollen with and pulsating red with rage. Like I've never felt before. And I looked down at him on the floor and screamed at him, "You cut my fucking fingers off? You cut my fucking fingers off? I'm gonna you." So when I said I'm gonna you, I meant it in every sense of the word.
So brave.
All I felt was a desire to kill this man. So I jumped down onto the floor. He was like still sitting on the floor looking at his hands. And I started to punch him, kick him. You know, like my left hand was hurt badly, but I was punching with my right. I was kicking him with my bare feet, attacking him, screaming, "Get the fuck out of my house. I'm gonna you get the fuck out of my house." And he stood back up, pushed me back down onto the floor, and was slashing at me again.
Oh, no.
I put up my arms, and we fought a little bit more on the floor. Then, all of a sudden, I saw that he stood up, and he started running. And I thought, okay, now I guess we're running. I ran after him.
Wow.
I went out to the hallway, and there was a lamp that I pulled out of the wall. He ran to the front door, and he started messing with the locks. I was hitting him over the back with the lamp, screaming, "Get the f*** out of my house. I'm gonna kill you.
So brave.
Kill you." He reached back, and he knocked the lamp out of my hand. I grabbed another lamp, pulled that out of the wall, was hitting him with that on the back, reached back, hit that out of my hands, but then he got the door open, the deadbolt opened the door, and ran out. I didn't find out that night. I didn't find out even a day after, a month after, that he had been stalking me for as long as he had. That came later. There are also a couple of other things, elements to the story, especially that happened in the afterward, that were surprises, things
Jesus
that
Christ.
I think many women can relate to. But like I said, I want to share this story if it's interesting to you guys, if it's something...
Definitely. I want the whole
makes you feel
series.
empowered.
I want a book.
I really want to only, share things if it's helpful and not hurtful. I just think that, for me, I felt so lost after the attack. I felt like I couldn't find a depiction of my story in the media, in movies. I want to share the story, like I said, because there was no way that I thought that I would have been someone that fought back. No way. I had no training. I had never been to a self-defense class. Now I box. I had never been to a boxing class.
That's within
had
you.
experiences in my past where I hadn't stood up for
you.
I was in a relationship with in a toxic relationship where I wasn't standing up for myself every day. And I'd had instances of SA like this that I hadn't stood up for myself. So it wasn't like I was born to fight. It required me to find strength that I didn't know I had. Pull this fighter out of me that I didn't know that I would ever need or that I could even ever find. If you guys are interested in hearing more about this story,
we definitely will.
Let me know for sure in the comments. I'm an open book. Also, if you have questions, I'm happy to answer them. And just don't forget how strong you are, bitch. It can come at the most surprising time, but the strength is there, I promise you.
How horrifying was that? This is one of the worst true, like as someone telling us a true story that I think I have ever heard about Stalker. That is crazy. Like I said, this is a part 1 of the incident, and then the next video I'm going to release will be the part 2, where she kind of tells us the story, how she found out that she had a stalker, what happened, and kind of all the information that she's got now. So stay tuned, and yeah, what a brave woman. That is absolutely shocking. Like, you know, some people when they're attacked or something scary happens, some people freeze, or you know, they're always showing the movies that people trip is because of the adrenaline, and it's true. And then some people, like she did, go into rage and then they fight. That was just the craziest thing ever. So impressed, honestly. Well done to her. Stay tuned for part 2. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.